It started with a text and an impulsive yes. One last summer trip before everything changes. Now here we are, three of us, tangled in sun-bleached sheets and late-morning laughter on the top floor of an Airbnb that smells like cedar and sea breeze. The kind of place you book because it looks good in pictures and ends up meaning more than you expect. I'm Eli, photography major, overthinker, and apparently the only one who brought sunscreen. I've always been the quiet one in the group, the observer. I don't always speak unless I'm sure the words matter. But with them, especially with him, it's always felt a little easier to breathe. Noah was the one who proposed the trip. Of course he was. He's the glue between us, the charismatic center of a trio that survived high school parties, 2 a.m. breakdowns, and one unforgettable snowstorm that stranded us in my car for 6 hours. He's the reason we're here now. 3 weeks before, college splits us in opposite directions. We arrived last night, throwing bags on the floor, claiming beds, and arguing over who snores the loudest. It's supposed to be a chill, long weekend. Just us, the beach, and whatever mischief we get into before we grow up for real. This morning, sunlight filters through the tall windows and paints the room in honey gold. I glance over at Noah, lying, sideways across the bed in nothing but those black briefs we all somehow ended up wearing, another dumb inside joke that became tradition. His back rises and falls slowly. He's still asleep, but even then, there's something magnetic about him, like gravity forgets the rest of the room when he's in it. I swallow hard and shift my gaze before I linger too long. Zane, our third, cracks a joke from behind me and throws a pillow. I force a laugh and toss one back, the way I always do when... My heart's beating too loudly. This trip was supposed to be fun, a last hurrah. But already, I feel something stirring, a pressure in my chest. A quiet ache that's been there for years, growing in the silent spaces between late-night drives and almost too long looks. Because the truth is, I said yes to this trip for one reason. I needed one more chance to figure out if the feelings I've been burying for Noah are just nostalgia, or something I've been too scared to name, and if I'm right, if he feels even a fraction of it too, then this weekend could change everything. We met in freshman year homeroom when Noah sat next to me because the seat by the window was already taken and he didn't want to sit next to that one kid who always chewed gum like it was a war crime. His words, not mine. That's how it started, our friendship. Not some cinematic moment, just quiet convenience. But Noah has this way of making convenience feel like destiny. By week 2, he was eating half my lunch, borrowing my notes, and texting me song lyrics at 2 a.m. with absolutely no context. Zane joined the picture a year later. He transferred in, and within days had declared himself the third part of our chaotic little triangle of trust, as he called it. Zane was the chaos, Noah, the charm, and I was the one who made sure we all got home in one piece. Together, we were solid. The kind of friends who shared everything. Rides, hoodies, dumb playlists, late-night secrets whispered into pillows when we were too tired to pretend anymore. What made us work wasn't just how we got along, but how we fit. Noah filled the tada silence with laughter, Zane cut the tension with wit, and I grounded us with quiet steadiness. Our chemistry wasn't loud. It showed up in the way Noah would pass me my coffee without asking how I take it. In how Zane would randomly call out group hug, and we'd groan but lean in anyway. In the endless stream of inside jokes, like the time we all showed up wearing the same pair of black wake briefs on accident and now treat them like a uniform for every trip we take. Like this one. Noah and Zane are goofing off while unpacking our duffel bags, tossing rolled-up socks at each other across the room. I'm folding shirts into the tiny dresser when I hear it. Wait, guys, Zane says, holding up a sleeping bag. Did we really only bring 2? A beat. I blink. I thought you were packing the sleeping stuff, Noah. I brought the tent. I assumed everyone brought their own. Bro, Zane groans, tossing it dramatically on the bed. Guess someone's sharing. They both look at me. Noah grins, eyes flicking over like it's the most natural thing in the world. You cool bunking with me? Yeah, I say, too fast. Sure, whatever. No big deal, except it is. Because later that night, when the wind outside picks up and the temperature drops way lower than the forecast said, we end up zipped together in the sleeping bag. There's not much space. Our arms brush, knees knock, and I can feel the heat of his body through the thin fabric of his t-shirt. Noah whispers something about how cold my feet are. I mutter that he's warm like a furnace, and he chuckles, low and breathy. His hand accidentally grazes mine, and I freeze, half hoping he didn't notice, half hoping he did. He doesn't move away. In the darkness, I can't see his face, but I feel him turn slightly, our shoulders pressing just a little closer. Remember that time we camped by Lake Morgan and your marshmallow caught fire? He says. I snort. You tackled me to save it. It was a good marshmallow. I was the one on fire. You were fine. A beat, then softly. I always look out for you. I turn my head, heart pounding. The tent is quiet now except for the wind. Our legs are tangled somewhere near the bottom of the bag, and his breath is warm against my cheek. I know, I whisper. I don't say what I'm thinking. That I wish he knew how much that means. That maybe I've been looking out for him too, in ways he's never noticed. Instead, I let the silence stretch. Between us, thick with words I'm not ready to say. Not yet. The weather app said 10% chance of rain. I'd love to meet the meteorologist responsible for that estimate and throw a soggy hiking boot at them. By the time we reached the halfway point of our trail, an overlook we'd picked for the view, and the picnic were soaked to the bone. The skies cracked open without warning, drenching us in minutes. The winding path back is mud-slicked and slow, and by the time we stumble onto a covered wooden shelter by the trail's end, our clothes are plastered to our skin and everything smells like pine and wet earth. Zane laughs like this is all some glorious cosmic joke and immediately flops onto a bench. Nature's way of reminding us who's boss. Noah shakes water from his curls and strips off his shirt without a second thought. I'd kill for dry socks. I freeze mid-step, just for a second. But it's long enough to catch a glimpse of water sliding down his chest, the way it glistens across his collarbone before trailing lower. I look away, heart skipping. Focus. Don't be weird. I have a spare hoodie, I mumble, rifling through my soaked pack. But only one. Noah grins, teeth chattering slightly. Sharing again, huh? Zane throws a granola bar at him. You two really need to stop flirting in survival scenarios. I laugh, but it comes out shaky. Eventually, Zane decides to jog the half-mile back to the parking lot to start the car and blast the heat. Noah and I are left in the shelter, our breath clouding in the chilly air, rain hammering the roof like a drum line. We sit side by side on the wooden bench, our thighs barely touching. I try not to notice. I fail. Noah wraps my hoodie around both, our shoulders like a makeshift blanket, pulling it snug. Body heat. Science, he mutters. Right, science, I echo, trying not to sound like I'm dying inside. The silence stretches. Not awkward, never that with us, but charged. Every inhale feels heavy. Every inch between us feels like it's buzzing. His knee nudges mine lightly. I nudge back. You've been quiet, he says, voice low. I shrug, thinking. About? You. College. Change. The usual. He leans back against the wall, tilting his head to look at me. You ever think we'll drift? The question lands hard. He doesn't ask it casually. He asks it like he's already mourning something. All the time, I admit. But I hope we don't. Noah's eyes search mine, and I wonder if he's looking for something specific. If he finds it... We've always stuck together, he says, even when we shouldn't have. That makes me smile. You mean like when you convinced me to break into the school gym just to find your AirPods? They were important, Eli. You left them in a locker room for 2 days. He grins, but then quiets, like he's reeling the moment back in, like he wants to say something else. A raindrop drips from his hair and lands on my collarbone. I shiver slightly, not from the cold, not really. He notices. You okay? He asks, closer now. I nod. Fine. He reaches up and brushes a thumb under my eye, gently wiping away a drop of water I hadn't even realized was there. His touch lingers a fraction too long. My heart trips. His hand drops, but he doesn't move away. You've changed, he says, voice quiet. Not in a bad way, just, I notice things. What kind of things? I ask, afraid of the answer, wanting it anyway. His gaze flickers to my lips and back. He opens his mouth, then closes it again. I don't know, he says. You just feel more like you. I like it. My throat tightens. I want to say you make me feel like me. But the words catch somewhere between caution and fear. Because if I say them, everything changes. And I don't know if we come back from that. Instead, I ask, what happens when we leave here? You mean the trip? No. I mean us. When school starts. When we're not in the same room every day. Noah doesn't answer right away. He runs a hand through his damp curls and sighs. I've been thinking about that a lot, he says. Maybe too much. He glances at me again, eyes softer now. I don't want to lose this. Whatever this is, I just don't always know how to say it. Say what, exactly? My heart is thundering. Another beat. Then, too casually, he adds, you ever think about how things might be different if we weren't just friends? It's said like a joke, like a ha-ha, just testing the waters kind of thing, but it lands like a weight in my chest. I turn to him, heart pounding. Do you? He meets my gaze again, and in that look, I see it. The fear, the longing, the same confusion I've carried for years. The air between us feels thick with the words we keep swallowing, with the question neither of us dares to ask out loud, but maybe we don't have to. Not yet. Maybe it's okay to let the silence hold it for now, because right now, in this cramped shelter, draped in one hoodie and soaked to the skin, I've never been closer to him, and I've never wanted him more. We're back at the Airbnb by sunset, but the storm hasn't let up. It drums against the windows like it's trying to crawl inside, filling every corner of the cabin with restless noise. Zane's gone to bed early, claiming exhaustion, though. I think he sensed something in the air between me and Noah, something neither of us is saying. Noah's on the couch, legs stretched out, one arm flung behind the cushions like he owns the place. His hair's still damp, curls wild from the rain. He's flipping channels, not watching any of them. I sit on the floor, cross-legged in front of the unlit fireplace, pretending to scroll through my phone. The silence between us is comfortable, but charged, like a wire stretched too tight, humming with everything we've left unsaid. I keep stealing, glances at him, hoping he'll speak first. He doesn't. Eventually, I break. You remember that night, sophomore year, the one at your dad's cabin? He turns the volume down, eyebrows lifted. Yeah. Why? You asked if I ever thought. About leaving, running away. A small smile tugs at his lips. And you said you'd take me with you, even if I didn't tell you where we were going. I nod. I meant it. He looks at me for a long moment. Then he sits up slowly, remote forgotten on the coffee table. Why are you bringing that up now? I take a breath. It doesn't feel deep enough. Because you're leaving soon. We both are. And I keep thinking, if I don't say this now, I never will. The air in the room shifts. I hear the rain, the fridge humming, the faint creak of the old wooden floors. But inside me, silence. The kind that only comes before something either begins or breaks. Noah leans forward, arms on his knees, eyes fixed on mine. Say what? I can't meet his gaze. My fingers curl into the fabric of the blanket I'm sitting on. I think I've been lying to myself, I say, voice barely above a whisper. For years. He doesn't speak, just waits. I told myself we were just friends, that I wasn't feeling more, that these little moments, camping trips, late-night drives, you borrowing my hoodies and never giving them back, they were just what guys do. But they weren't. Not for me. My throat tightens. I force myself to look at him, and I kept thinking, maybe it's just me. Maybe I read too much into everything, but then you'd smile at me a certain way, or say something that felt like a secret coded just for us. And I'd wonder if maybe, just maybe, you felt it too. Noah blinks, and for the first time since I started talking, he looks uncertain. Not in the usual joking way, but like I've just handed him something fragile and he's afraid of dropping it. You feel something? He finally says, voice quiet. Yeah, I breathe. I do. And I don't know what to do with it, but I couldn't keep pretending I didn't. He's quiet for so long that panic starts to bubble in my chest. Then he exhales, slow and unsteady. Eli? My name sounds like a question, or maybe a plea. I've felt it too, he says. The world narrows. Since when? I ask, barely able to speak. He gives a breathless laugh. Since forever, I didn't know if you were ever going to say something. And I didn't want to screw up what we had. So I kept it buried. You buried it well, I say, voice shaking. Sometimes I thought maybe you felt something, and other times you were so good at being just friends that I thought I was completely alone in it. Noah leans forward, resting his arms on his knees again. It wasn't that I didn't feel it. It's that I was scared what it would mean if I did something about it. Why? I whisper. Because you've always been the one constant in my life, he says, eyes shining a little now. Everything else, school, my parents, the future, it's always changing. But you've been my safe place, and I didn't want to lose that by wanting more. I nod slowly. I get it. I've felt the same. We sit there, not touching, the distance between us shrinking in every heartbeat. The confession hangs in the air like a live wire, vibrating with possibility. Then Noah moves, carefully, deliberately. He slides down from the couch and sits beside me, close enough that our knees brush. His voice is soft. What now? I turn toward him. And for once, I don't overthink it. I just answer honestly. Now we stop pretending. He reaches out, brushing a thumb along the curve of my jaw. His touch is light, but it sets off fireworks beneath my skin. I've wanted to do this for a long time, he says. I tilt my head slightly. Then don't wait. He leans in slowly, hesitantly, giving me time to pull away. I don't. Our lips meet in a kiss that's almost shy at first, careful, like we're both afraid it might disappear if we move too fast. But then I feel his fingers curl into the back of my neck, pulling me closer, and it deepens, soft, warm, and real. When we finally pull apart, he rests his forehead against mine. We're both breathless, smiling. I don't know what's next, he admits, but I want it to include this. You. Us. Me too, I say. And for once I feel weightless. Outside, the storm still rages. But inside this moment, everything is still. No more wondering, no more almosts, just us. And something finally beginning. The storm's softened into a whisper now, tapping gently on the windows like it's exhausted from its earlier tantrum. The cabin feels warm for the first time all day, and it has nothing to do with the thermostat. Noah and I are still curled. On the floor in front of the fireplace, now wrapped in the same oversized blanket, our shoulders pressed together. His hand rests lightly on mine, our fingers occasionally brushing like we still can't believe we're allowed to do this. Like the muscle memory of restraint hasn't fully left us yet. Just to be clear, he says, voice soft and teasing. We're not going to pretend that didn't just happen, right? I glance sideways at him, raising an eyebrow. You mean the part where you finally admitted you've had a thing for me since forever? He laughs, and the sound sinks into my chest like warmth. Okay, wow, you really went with finally. Well, you did bury it like a champ. I was preserving the friendship, he says, mock defensive. Also, I didn't want to risk getting punched. You've literally seen me cry at Pixar movies, I deadpan. I was not going to punch you. That's fair, he says, chuckling. But for the record, you do have surprisingly strong arms for a guy who avoids gym class. Years of carrying your emotional baggage, he grins, eyes crinkling. Touché. The teasing fades into something quieter as our eyes meet again, and I feel the shift, still playful but laced with something deeper, something real. I trace lazy circles with my thumb across the back of his hand. So, now that it's out there, us, this, what do we do? He sighs, thoughtful, but not heavy. I don't know. I mean, we go home in a couple of days. Then it's college, classes, life, different cities, new routines. I nod slowly, trying not to let the weight of reality crush the newness between us. But, he says, nudging me with his shoulder, we've always figured it out. Distance doesn't change that. You say that now. Wait until you realize. I'm the clingy one. He smirks. Eli, I've known you for 10 years. I already knew that. I nudge him back, but the tension I hadn't realized I was holding loosens. Because somehow, even in the middle of the unknown, he makes it feel like we're still on solid ground. I want this to work, I say quietly. So do I. I don't want to go back to pretending. You won't have to, he promises. We'll FaceTime every night. I'll send you weird memes. You'll pretend to hate them. And when we're home again, we'll pick up where we left off. Only now I get to kiss you. I grin. That part does sound like a nice upgrade. He leans closer, brushing his lips, against my cheek, then resting his head on my shoulder like it's the most natural thing in the world. We sit like that for a while, listening to the quiet. I can feel his heartbeat where we're touching, steady and sure. This, whatever this is now, it's ours. Messy, complicated, and a little terrifying. But it's real. Do you think we'll tell people? I ask after a while. He thinks for a second. Maybe not right away. Let's keep this part just ours for a bit, like a secret we're not ready to share. I like that, I say, meaning it. He shifts to face me again, eyes soft. Can I ask you something? Anything. He smiles almost shy. Do you regret it? Telling me? I don't even hesitate. No, not even for a second. His smile stretches wider, like he needed to hear that more than he let on. Then he reaches out and pulls me into him, arms winding around my waist as I fall into his chest, warm and solid. I can feel his breath in my hair, slow and even. I don't either, he whispers. Not even for a second. We stay like that, tangled in each other in the quiet, and for the first time in a long time, everything feels right. Maybe tomorrow we'll worry about the future. But tonight, we just are. The morning after the storm, the world looks different. Sunlight spills through the tall windows of the cabin, catching in the golden dust motes that swirl lazily through the air. The rain has left everything clean and quiet, like the sky hit a reset button overnight. Noah is beside me in the kitchen, barefoot, hair still messy from sleep. He's trying to make pancakes but keeps flipping them too early, ending up with lumpy folds of batter that we both pretend are gourmet. Okay? I say, watching his latest disaster flop onto the pan like a sad jellyfish. That one's abstract. He deadpans. I call it broken dreams and maple syrup. We both laugh. The kind of easy morning laughter that only comes after a night of truth-telling and everything that followed. My heart is light. My chest open in a way it hasn't been in a long time. He looks at me then, really looks at me, and something passes between us. That quiet understanding that last night wasn't a dream, that nothing's going back to how it was before. We eat what we can salvage of the pancakes and clean up together, bumping shoulders and stealing looks. It's simple. Ordinary. But underneath every movement is something new. Every brush of his hand against mine sparks something electric. Every smile feels like a secret. When we finish, we sit on the porch steps, 2 mugs of coffee warming our hands. The trees drip gently around us, leaves still wet, the smell of rain still fresh in the air. We should probably start packing soon, I say. Noah groans. Don't remind me. I smile, watching the way his gaze drifts across the trees like he's memorizing them. You okay? Yeah, he says softly. I just don't want to lose this, what we found here. You won't, I say, bumping his knee with mine. We won't. He looks down into his mug, then back at me. You sure? I nod. We've already been through everything but this. We know how to fight, how to forgive, how to be stupid together. Loving you isn't the scary part. It's easy. It's the distance that sucks. He smiles at that. One of those small, vulnerable ones that doesn't reach his lips so much as glow from his eyes. So we do what we've always done, I continue. We figure it out. One call, one visit, one bad pancake at a time. He lets out a laugh and reaches into the pocket of his hoodie. Then here, I got you something. I blink. What? He pulls out a tiny keychain, a ridiculous cartoonish pancake with a face. Saw it in town the other day, meant to give it to you before we left. I stare at it, then burst out laughing. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Exactly, he says. Now you'll think of me every time you see it. I turn it over in my hand. It's stupid. It's perfect. I thread it onto the zipper of my backpack without a second thought. A small but meaningful token. Proof that this, whatever we're building, is real. Then I reach for his hand and hold it, openly this time, our fingers lacing together like they've always known how. He looks over, eyebrows raised in mock surprise. Public display of affection? From you? I'm evolving, I say, smug. Noah grins, squeezing my hand gently. Good, because I plan on holding this a lot. We sit like that in the morning sun, hands entwined, warmth between us even as the day begins to move forward. There's still college and distance and life waiting for us just beyond the trees. But for the first time, I'm not afraid of what comes next. Because whatever it is, we're in it together. And this is only the beginning.